Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first ever New York Times Well Festival. I'm Lori Leibovich, the editor of Well, and I am so thrilled to be with all of you here today in Brooklyn and at home on the live stream. At a time when the world feels increasingly chaotic and uncertain, so many of us are asking the question, how can I live better? That question is at the heart of what we do every day at Well. Our journalism is designed to help readers live smarter and healthier lives. We demystify health trends, we parse the latest research, and we offer evidence-based guidance on your mental and physical health. Today, we're bringing that mission off the page and the screen and into real life to have in-person conversations with some of the most thoughtful minds in health, science, and wellness. We have an incredible lineup today. You'll hear from doctors, psychologists, relationship experts, athletes, celebrities, academics, chefs, podcasters, and best-selling authors. Many of today's guests have had a huge impact on my own life. Dan Harris's book, 10% Happier, is what finally spurred me to try meditation, and it's something I now do for 10 minutes every day. Robert Waldinger's groundbreaking research on happiness helped me reprioritize the relationships in my life. And Kelly McGonigal's book, The Joy of Movement, completely reframed my approach to exercise and made it something that I look forward to instead of dread. These people, their ideas, and their research helped me, and it's those kinds of discoveries and light bulb moments that we hope today will be all about. For this first Well Festival, we chose the theme of happiness because at the end of the day, that's what most of us are searching for ourselves and for our loved ones. Whether through better nutrition, stronger relationships, or a little more stillness in a noisy world, happiness is the thread that connects so much of what we do at Well. Today, you're going to hear from Times journalists, including some of the people behind the Well bylines you may be familiar with. Jancy Dunn, Danny Bloom, Lisa Miller, Danielle Friedman, Kate Lowenstein, and Patia Brathwaite. You'll also get to know some of my colleagues from around the newsroom, like Kim Severson from Food, Ested Herndon from the Run Up podcast, Susan Dominus from the New York Times Magazine, and Mark Lacey, our managing editor. Our hope is that today feels more like a conversation than a lecture. So please ask questions. Several of the panels today will have Q&As. Introduce yourself to your neighbor. Have lunch with maybe someone you don't know. We hope you leave here today feeling more informed, more connected, and maybe a little more zen than when you walked in. And with that, let's get started. It is my great pleasure to introduce our first guest of the day, Tracee Ellis Ross, who will join me for a conversation about building a life of joy. Enjoy the day ahead. We are so glad you're here.
It's so zen and peaceful out here. Hi, how are you? Hi. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Woo, woo, woo.
Good morning.
Good
I'm
morning.
so happy you're here.
So happy to be here.
So I'm going to read a couple of quotes
Okay.
that things people have said about you, okay? But first, let me introduce you. So if you don't know, our first guest is an award-winning actress, producer, and entrepreneur. She starred in the television series Blackish for 8 seasons. She is the founder and co-CEO of Pattern Beauty. And her new series, Solo Traveling with Tracee Ellis Ross, which explores adventure, independence, and discovery, will be available on Roku later this year.
Hi.
Okay, here are the quotes.
Okay.
Glennon Doyle says you are her.
Glennon Doyle said this.
Yeah, she said, you are her I'll have what she's having friend. Tyler, the creator, said, you have a glow that radiates. Sean Hayes says, your name equals joy. And Michelle Obama says she loves, quote, watching your life because you've built the life you want. So
That is a hefty list there.
So part of why we wanted to start the day talking to you is that I have a sense that many of us can learn from you about how to live well and with joy. So where does that joy come from?
Well, I'll tell you a secret. My real name is Tracee Joy Silverstein.
Oh.
My mother said I came out as joyful. And when I started acting, my name is such a long story, but I put my father's name in my name because we'd all dropped Silverstein, including him. So Tracee Ellis Ross. And my mother was like, oh, you just threw away your middle name. And I said, no, Mama. And she said, no, you've embodied it. So I feel like my natural state is joyful. And yet I work at it. I think joy is different from happiness. I feel like happiness is something you can get at 7-Eleven, and joy is something that you earn and work for and takes practice. I feel like joy has legs. I feel like joy has feet. I feel like joy has roots. I feel like joy creates space and allows room for more than just a good day. I think joy is an attitude. I think joy is a perspective. And I think joy is a lens through which I live and look at my life.
How do you practice it every day? What does that look like?
It's a choice. I think it's a choice that's similar to gratitude. I think the difference for me is gratitude, an attitude of gratitude. I made up a song recently. Today I have an attitude. I wish it was one of gratitude. And yet the more I make a choice, so it's those kinds of things for me. Joy can come from so many different places. I think it's something I cultivate. I think the wholeness of my life is where I find joy. Being tethered to my humanity. Being tethered to my humanity means that I am very interconnected with others. The intimate relationships that I have, my own self-care. It's such a cheesy thing, but noticing the flowers, noticing the trees. I have a group of friends that I have a gratitude and fear list that we write together every morning. And so to acknowledge and name and put words to the things that actually light up your soul and your heart, I think they allow a balance and a perspective in a life and in a day that is filled and is a mixed bag of I'm late, I didn't sleep well, I'm hungry, this person did this, I just got cut off in traffic, I can't get everything done on my list that I need to get done. Everybody needs something from me. I feel like I've not done what I needed to do today. All of those things, but if you can mix them in with the right kind of perspective and focus on the stuff that is working, I find that I can have a space of joy in my life.
Did you have that? Did you make your list yet today?
I did.
And what
I did.
Can you share?
I'm definitely not sharing it. But for example, I did not sleep well last night. I did not sleep well. I got in bed at 9:30 and I was really tired and did not fall asleep until 1 and had to wake up at 5:30. That's not enough sleep. And I have been going nonstop. And so I could, this is something I always say to myself. Do you remember that time when there was a person that you were very into and you finally had the first moment where you stayed up all night, either on the phone or rolling around, and you were exhausted, but you were filled with a sense of just joy and bubble and tickle in your face? And so I always remind myself of that. Sometimes it's not the hours of sleep, but if I can have the attitude of, I've got this, and instead of saying, I feel overwhelmed, I use the word, my plate is wonderfully full. So let me just see if I can read like one or two things off of my text.
Great.
Let's see. A bright blue sky and spring New York energy. A beautiful view from my room. Career abundance and a wonderfully full plate. Working this morning, and I have an inner smile even though I'm tired.
Amazing.
My self-care practices that hold me when sleep is tough. Things like that.
Great.
Yeah.
So you've talked a lot about the cultural narrative that women of our generation and earlier grew up with. You've said, we were sold this narrow story that husband plus child equals woman. Did that narrative harm you?
It limited my understanding of what was possible. It undermined my sense of worth and self and joy until I realized it was somebody else's idea. And I get caught in it still. It's a narrative that the volume has turned back up on again culturally. And I do not believe that my life is unworthy because I don't have children. I do not believe that my life is unworthy because I do not have a man or a partner. I don't believe that, but I do believe that I mother all over the place. I do believe that I do very valued things in the world and for people that I care about and love. I take out the garbage. I make my bed. I'm pretty kind to people. I do what is asked of me and what I ask of myself, and I am accountable. So I think I must be worthy of love and a life, even if society says I haven't checked those boxes.
So several years ago, you wrote about the, quote, tenuous and almost antagonistic relationship you've had with your body. But more recently, you've described yourself as embodied. What does that mean?
First of all, your questions are so wonderful. Goodness, thank you. I think also societally, culturally, there is a narrative around what makes you beautiful. And for women, what makes you beautiful then makes you worthy of being chosen. Garbage. I tell you, it's garbage. It has been such an honor to get older. And I think back now to times that I was like, oh my God, I just didn't want to edit my body. I hate it. And I think back now and I'm like, oh my God, if I had just enjoyed it. And you know, I really feel like my body's point is to support my dreams and my life and carrying groceries. My body's point is not for people to think it looks pretty. Don't get me wrong, I'm really vain. And getting older is very humbling in terms of your skin, the armpits, that I don't even know what's happening. Every once in a while, I'm like, huh, neat. What is that now? Like, did that happen overnight? It's so interesting. But what I've discovered is the emotional and the spiritual aspect of getting older is delicious. It is fantastic. I feel the most in my body I've ever been. And one of the things I discovered for myself is like my favorite place to be is present in my body. My least favorite place to be is not in my body because I can't be in the experience of what is happening in my life. You can be out of your body and be doing amazing things and have no memory of it and have no like visceral filling up, because you're not in it. And there's sometimes the smallest, most mundane things of life are the most delicious if you can be with them. I mean, I heard somebody say, meditation defined is doing what you're doing while you're doing it, you know? And so I do feel the most embodied I've ever felt. And some of that is making space for the parts of me that are not present or aren't in a great space. Like even today, you know, sure, yeah, I'm tired. Like I closed my eyes in the car coming here and I was like, uh-oh. It was just supposed to be a little breathing moment, but it turned into that moment where you're like, uh-oh, is my head gonna do this? But you know, if I have a sense of not pretending I'm not tired, not pretending that, I'm sorry, it's so funny, like I don't want to turn my back to you, but I feel like I'm turning back to you guys. So, okay, I'm gonna pick the middle. To make space for that instead of pretending I'm not. You know, it's like even instead of pretending I'm not afraid, like saying I'm afraid and I can do it anyway, you know.
So speaking of bodies, I follow you on Instagram. And
I'm so sorry. It's fun, guys. You should do it.
It's really fun. And your workouts look pretty intense, like really intense. So are you someone who loves exercise or do you struggle with it?
No, I love it.
You love it. What do you love?
Well, I was an athlete growing up. So much of my endurance, my understanding of my limits, my understanding of my strength, my understanding of good pain versus bad pain, where pain and struggle are different, all came from being an athlete. And knowing how to listen to my body, but also how hard I can push my body. And I'll be honest, like that has changed. I'm 52, and there is a difference in how I can push my body because then I'm depleted and can't do other things. My mom and I actually just had a conversation about the difference in dopamine, endorphins, and like we kept Googling like what the difference is and all those things. But I find it really meditative. It's a time for me in the day where the cell phone is nowhere near me for an hour and a half, and I am completely in my body, feeling where I am in my body and what it's capable of and not capable of. And I do feel best when I feel strong. I have very bad knees, and my God, it was during the pandemic, I tore my labrum in my hip. And so I've had to adjust my working out, but I learned something really interesting with that, because when you're healing, you have to stay behind the line, and you can keep moving the line of what you're capable of. I mean, this is such a metaphor for life, right? You can keep moving the line, but if you cross over it, you take too many steps back. And so I'm used to pushing myself really hard when I work out, but I've come to understand that I can get enough of a workout by doing enough and not too much. And I also remember I have a friend whose husband is a surgeon, and he said, he said, you can kill a patient by trying to make them better. But when you're in surgery, when you've done enough, you're done. And it's just a really interesting metaphor for life, because there's this tendency to think you need to do more in order to be worth it. And there's a sense of you can do enough, and that's good enough.
So while we're on social media, how you post a lot. It's very entertaining.
I stopped posting as much because I've been so busy and living.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, how do you set boundaries around it? How do you make sure it's a healthy part of your life and not something?
There's a lot of ways I do that. Number one, I don't do anything for social media. I capture things. I was one of those kids who really loved the auto timer. Like, I really enjoyed taking pictures of myself. Don't give me a camera. Don't put me on a stage with a mic. You know what I mean? Like, I'm that kid. So social media is like fun for me, because all the nutty stuff I do is just like stuff I do. But I do have a lot of practices around social media. So if I start the day by scrolling too many days in a row, it's off my phone. It just comes off my phone so that I can break the habit and then come back. And when I come back, I notice, oh, I'm not like dying to get there all the time to just endlessly scroll. Because I think it's shocking, like the amount of time that is wasted doing this, like literally. And you've learned nothing.
Right.
You've gained no sense of knowledge. You know nothing new about yourself. As a matter of fact, you probably feel bad.
Right.
So I've noticed when I'm working, I do it, like when I'm on set, because it's an easy thing to pick up and scroll. When I'm being CEO lady, which is, depends. I don't have a sense of, my life isn't balanced, it's more harmony.
Right.
So sometimes it's all of one, all of the other. It just kind of goes back and forth. Lately, I've been doing all the hat duty.
Yeah.
Which is really, takes a really interesting skill. When I go from acting to CEO, that's a hard one for me. But
To the Met Ball.
To the Met Ball. It's all like different parts of my body and different parts of my brain. So when I'm CEO lady, I never touch my phone. Like it's nowhere near, I'm not like scrolling or anything. When I'm on set as an actor, it's easy between takes to just kind of do that.
Yeah.
And so I often get in a habit. But I take it off my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a conversation you had about dating and marriage, you said that when you're single, there's, quote, no one to hide behind. How do you think about dating and sharing your life with someone when you've taken such care to know yourself and what you want?
Oh, I think it makes it more exciting. I actually enjoy dating. It doesn't frighten me. I mean, I audition, so how can dating be hard? Auditioning is a lot scarier, I think. I mean, I do anyway. I actually think knowing myself has made dating so much less intimidating. It has made the beginnings, and relationships and when those things are emerging so much more fun, because I also think being older is it makes it so much more fun. Because I know what works for me and what doesn't. I know what being open means. I don't have some I'm not a high school student looking to be like knocked off my feet. You know what I mean? Like people are like, I want to be swept away. I'm like, I don't. I would like to keep my feet on the ground. I'm not looking for what is it? The knight in shining armor. Right. I'm looking for a partner. I'm looking for someone to link arms with me and be additive in my life and actually be someone who I want to spend time with. So it's a lot of different things than I thought I was looking for when I was young. And I said this recently, and I think that conversation that you're pulling from, that one of the things I've discovered and learned that's been incredibly helpful is like chemistry is different from love and love is different from chemistry. They're two different things. And I would like a relationship that has chemistry and love. Some people are different. And so there's just things I know about myself that are important to me. Like a person who stays up all night is like not my thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm not that person. You know what I mean? Like I'm a morning person. I wake up and I'm like, what are we doing? So knowing yourself has made dating a lot more fun, I think.
You once did a seminar for students at Brown.
You really did your research. This is fantastic.
We're the New York Times.
Correct.
You once did a seminar for students at Brown University, your alma mater, called How to Use Joy as Your Guide Through Life. So, Cliff Notes.
The first is know yourself. And that discovery process can be a really fun one and sometimes is best done with others, safe people. Journaling is a wonderful practice, and I always remind people that journaling is best done by hand, not like this, and not talking into a phone. But if you can actually write, it can move at the pace of your heart, and your mind can slow down. So journaling is a number one thing that I think can connect you to understanding what you like and know about yourself, and then you can find what is joyful for you. Follow what makes your heart sing. And that is a real motto for me in life. I actually often use Sundays as the follow my heart around day, where I literally get to do what my heart wants. I think joy, as I said when we started the conversation, is a practice. Yeah. So I think the third thing would be an attitude of joy, which means allowing yourself to use it like a honing device in terms of what you do. And that does not mean that your work has to be filled with joy all day. There are hard things in life, and there are things that require us to not be in joy, but to be in the work and to do the work. But if you can find time in a day, even if it's a minute or 5 minutes, to experience a sense of joy, whether it's look at nature or something that it is that your heart is calling you to do, I think it creates a sense of space in your life that's really important.
The last question. You've said that you ask yourself this question: how do I use everything that I have to get everything that I want? And at 52, what do you want from the next decade of your life?
First of all, how do I use everything that I have to get everything that I want?
Yeah.
I don't know when I said that. I don't know that you can get everything that you want, and that's okay. But I do think it's important to know what you want. And when I say use everything that you have, I mean everything that you've experienced. The hard stuff, the good stuff, the sticky stuff, the sharp stuff, the wet and drippy, heavy stuff that you've experienced in your life. I think all of those things are part of what make you the special, unique, and beautiful incarnation that you are. And the more that you utilize those things, either as an opportunity for you to connect in a more intimate way with another person that either has had those same feelings, not even the same experiences, I think the more robust your life gets. And then in terms of what you want, I think especially for women, my experience has been that it's hard. Culture does not teach us that it's okay to name what we want, to lean towards delight and joy in your life. And I think if you can name those things, it doesn't mean that they're going to happen, but you have a sense of who you are and what you're walking towards. You can be a person that lets, the tide take you where it's taking you, or you can also get some oars and row yourself in the direction of what you want and what you're looking for. There was a second half to your question.
What do you want?
What do I want from the next decade? So many things. So many things. I am really ready to get back on TV. Yes, I have solo traveling fashionista. How can you be yourself, by yourself, out in the world is what the show is. I go to really wonderful locations, but I want to get back on TV in a scripted show. I had 8 years on Girlfriends, 8 years on Blackish. I really thrive in that environment. I love leaning into a character in that way, so I look forward to that. I would love a partner. But you know what? If I don't get that person, I gotta tell you, the life is pretty good. So just gonna keep enjoying what's happening, and I'll be just fine. I realized a long time ago that, it's not a reflection of my worthiness or my lovability, and I've woken up every morning of my life trying to do my best and be my best. I've never woken up and gone like, I'm gonna mess this day up. And so I must be right where I'm supposed to be, and the things are looking pretty good. There's one other thing I was gonna say, but I can't remember. Oh, I would like to really, as I continue to age, keep embracing the joy of what is coming instead of looking at it like a challenge and a hardship. I feel honored to be at this age, in this place in my life, and at this altitude, Yeah.
Tracee Ellis Ross, thank you.